Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we're going to be answering one of the questions that you guys have submitted in. So if you have any other questions, let us know in the comment section below, and we'll do our best to make a video response to some of the questions that you guys sent in. But for today, we're going to be looking at Janatras' question, who says, what should you be looking for in a partner? I.e., what about Emily told you that she would be the one? And of course, the same question for Emily, but about me. So looking at the second half of your question, we actually disagree about the whole concept of the one. We made a whole video on this, maybe I think last year during Veda. So we'll be sure to link that up in one of the cards in the corner so you can check out that video. But what kind of qualities were we looking for, and how did we know that this is the person that we wanted to commit ourselves to? So when it comes to qualities you're looking for, I think everybody has that perfect list, right? You have that list that you made in high school, you wrote down, I think you were talking about in a previous video, you had 30 things that you were looking for.
Extensive.
But it's really interesting that for us at least, those weren't the things that helped us determine this is the person that we're looking for. In fact, it really just came down to one thing. And the one thing was, is this person really committed to serving God with their whole life? And are they really serious about following Jesus? Yes or no? And for us, that really was the entire thing. And so we wanted to share, give you a behind the scenes, share with you guys a little bit of the story as to how we discovered that for each other.
So when I was first in my relationship with Justin, I had never dated someone in ministry before. My mom grew up as a pastor's kid. Her dad was a pastor. And so I knew that for my grandma, the intensity of being a pastor's wife and kind of a job that required. And I'm just I'm not sure if I can handle something like that.
Yeah, it's like a second job with no pay for sure. Yeah. So that's kind of tough, and it's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's really not. So I was just I want to serve God, but I don't know if I'm equipped or called to be that kind of person. Here's to say that Justin isn't a pastor, but he's definitely doing kind of pastoral work, evangelistic meetings, Bible work, canvassing, stuff like that. And I was just ooh, that's pretty intense. So I really didn't know if I could marry someone like that.
Yeah. And so this was actually a conversation that we had, I think, several different times as we were dating, but never with a real answer. And so it was always kind of in the back of our mind, or at least for me, it was in the back of my mind, is this really the right person if she's not doing ministry or something along those lines? So at some point during our dating relationship, I actually got a job request or a job interview all the way across the country. We were living in California at the time. And I got invited out to Philadelphia to interview for a position that I was actually really, really interested in. It was teaching at the Bible school. And so I actually convinced them to fly both me and Emily over, even though we weren't married and we weren't engaged, because I really felt like if we were gonna make this jump and we're gonna succeed as a relationship, that this decision to move across, this was something that we needed to do together.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you know anything about Philadelphia, but when you compare it to California, it's a lot more of a rough neighborhood. It's a lot tough, especially you grew up in the country.
Yeah.
So to go to Philly is very, very different. So we went there. The experience was great, and we came back, and I remember one conversation that we had right outside of my apartment. And I asked you the question, hey, is this something that you want to do? Are you ready to commit to ministry or not? Because for me, this is something that I'm going to do for the rest of my life. But what about you? Is this something that you want to do?
Yeah, and so that was probably the rockiest time in our relationship, because I didn't really know my answer to that. Because I didn't really know my purpose, at that time.
I mean, you're going to school for occupational therapy.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't really know. So I took a week to pray about it and really think about it. And by the end of that week, I came back and told Justin my answer.
Yeah. And so for me, that was really the biggest thing. That whole week was kind of a rough week. I was like, man, are we going to make it through this? Or is this just going to be the end of it? And then I fly to Philadelphia and see you later kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But when you said, yeah, I'm serious. I want to go all in for Jesus. I want to serve him like that and support you as you follow his calling. Honestly, that far overshadowed everything else that was great in our relationship. And there was a lot of things that were great in our relationship. We had a lot of fun, a lot in common. I obviously felt like she was beautiful, and it was a great time. But for me, when I heard that she was wanting to go all in, I was just man, for sure, this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. And so for me, that was the turning point. It's kind of funny because as soon as I had that conversation with her, I want to say the very next day, I was actually out in town shopping for an engagement ring, which we're gonna actually do a video on engagement rings and that stuff in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that. But it was almost immediately, I was all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
And we were engaged shortly after that.
Yeah. So and that's kind of how I knew too. Is once I'm all in and I I want to support him in this way with all the other great things about a relationship, then let's move forward to marriage. And yeah.
And so one of the lessons that we think is a great take home for you guys is, like we were talking about the list, like those are important things, qualities that you like prefer in a potential spouse or something like that. But really we want to encourage you guys to find someone that has that same mission and purpose and goal as you. And we talk about that a lot on this channel because really like that's something that's super important to us. Why are we here? What's the purpose of life? You know, it's great to be rich, it's great to have a family, it's great to have all these things, but at the end of the day, at least to us, the thing that matters the most is really how we can impact the world for Jesus. And so I am so glad to be able to have found someone like Emily who I get to do that with for the rest of my life.
Same here.
Well, there you go. That's our story, but we want to hear your story. What are you looking for in a spouse? Or if you're already married, how did you know that they were the one? And what qualities would you encourage some of the younger viewers to look for in a potential spouse? Let us know in the comment section below.
But until next time, we're That Christian Vlogger, and we encourage you to experience faith in the first person. God bless.